Hi, this is Joe Ziemba, the host of When Football Was Football here on the Sports History Network. Aside from my podcasting duties, I'm also a sports collector. And as such, I'm very pleased to share the exciting news that the Sports History Network has partnered with Rochester Sports Autographs, the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor in the United States, where you can get deals on over 30,000 autograph sports collectibles. So as a collector, I was very pleased when I visited the site of Rochester Sports Autographs. The massive inventory is easy to search, carefully documented, and visually appealing. The options seem limitless, whether you're looking for an autographed baseball, signed football helmets, or basketball jerseys, among thousands of others. I found everything from a Babe Ruth autograph, a signed football by Dick Butkus, and an autographed Larry Bird basketball jersey. And as a collector, you'll be delighted with the very competitive pricing on JSA authenticated products. Made possible since RSA deals directly with athletes, so there's no extra markup, and the savings are passed on directly to the customer. Perhaps you're looking for an early gift for Mother's Day or Father's Day. Heck, who needs a holiday as an excuse to give a piece of sports history to your loved ones? Or how about yourself? Today seems like a great day to add to your own sports collection, right? RSA even has film, music, and other entertainment autographs on the site, so there's something for everyone. All orders from Rochester Sports Autographs are top quality and shipped to your door with top authentication and a money-back guarantee. And to make sure RSA knows that the Sports History Network sent you, we created a special link for you. All you need to do is head to shoprsa.com/SHN. That's shoprsa.com/SHN to get your own piece of sports history today.
Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends of sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your place for all things great in sports history, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Break, where we're going to break down some of the great events and people associated with the date of May 9th in sports history, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that, talk about some great stars and events. But before we do that, let's make sure you're aware of our newsletter. It comes out each and every day about 6:30 a.m. Eastern, right into your email inbox, totally free, cancel at any time, and it's so easy to sign up for. Go to the show notes of this very podcast or pigskindispatch.com or jerseydispatch.com to sign up for our emailed newsletter. Now, let's get into some of these great Hall of Fame birthdays. People born in Hall of Fames of different sports on May 9th. And we start off in the year 1948 in Norwalk, Connecticut. And that was Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Calvin Murphy was born. Calvin had a successful collegiate career at Niagara University, where he averaged 33.1 points per game over a span of 3 years. And after that, he turned professional and played in the NBA as a guard for first the San Diego Rockets, and then they moved to Houston and became the Houston Rockets from 1970 all the way to 1983. Many of us remember him playing. And Murphy has the distinction of being the shortest National Basketball Association player inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. 5'9" of him, all of them in the Hall of Fame. And he also was the shortest to play in an NBA All-Star game, the shortest man, since that was tied by Isaiah Thomas in 2016. He wore the jersey number 23. Also on this day, we have a great baseball star, probably one of the greatest hitters of all time. May 9th, 1960, Los Angeles, California. Baseball Hall of Fame right fielder Tony Gwynn was born. Now, Tony played for 20 seasons, 1982 to 2001, and played for the San Diego Padres. He's a left-handed hitting. Gwynn won 8 batting titles in his career, tied for the most in National League history. He was a 15-time All-Star, recognized for his skills both on offense and defense, with 7 Silver Slugger Awards and 5 Gold Glove Awards. He wore number 19 with the Padres, and what a great person he is. Tony Gwynn, born this day. On May 9th of 1965, we have a great one from the hockey realm. He was born in Cranbrook, British Columbia, Canada. Hockey Hall of Fame center, Steve Yzerman. Now, Steve served as the longest-running captain in NHL history, dressing as captain for over 1,300 games and serving his entire 22-year NHL playing career with one team, the Detroit Red Wings. Now, he's a well-decorated skater, earned the Lester B. Pearson Award for the most outstanding player in 1988-89 season, the Conn Smythe Trophy for the most valuable player in the Stanley Cup playoffs in 98, and the Selke Trophy as the league's best defensive forward in 2000, and the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy for perseverance in 2003. He played in 10 All-Star games, was a first-team All-Star in 2000, and a member of the All-Rookie team in 1984, jersey number 19 of Steve Yzerman. A great one to watch, and that's covering a lot of sports there. And we're not done with the Hall of Famers, because we have one more to talk about born this day, and it comes from the College Football Hall of Fame. Born in 1958 on the 9th of May, Detroit, Michigan, the dominant guard from the University of Southern Cal was born Brad Boud. Now, footballfoundation.org website states that Boud was a starter at offensive guard for the Southern California teams for the seasons of 1976 through 79. He stood 6'5", weighed 253 pounds, was a lead blocker for the famous formation called Student Body Right, which was so successful in his senior year, and play averaged 8 yards each time it was run. Charles White was a prolific runner that ran behind the blocks of that line, including Brad Boud. He ended up winning the Lombardi Trophy as the nation's top lineman in 1979, was a unanimous All-American selection that same year, and the National Football Foundation selected Brad Boud for entrance in the College Football Hall of Fame in 1998. Now, after his college career was over, he played for the Kansas City Chiefs for 8 seasons in the 80s, and he ended up staying there in Kansas City, and he was familiar with the city because his dad, Ed Boud, played for the Chiefs from 63 to 1976. And it just tell you what the caliber of person is of this man. He sent a donation to Southern Cal, repaying the school for the athletic scholarship it had given him. And he has now since went and talked many Christian groups with him and his wife, helping to keep people of faith and perseverance, and helping out wherever he can. That's a great Hall of Famer in Brad Boud. So we had some great Hall of Famers. Now, one Hall of Famer that I think I failed to mention on the podcast yesterday, who had a birthday May 8th, was Ronnie Lott, the great safety of most well known of the San Francisco 49ers. Played for the Jets a little bit, but happy birthday out there to Ronnie Lott. We apologize for missing that. Didn't scroll down far enough during our speech yesterday, but we want to make sure we recovered from that. We had some great football news of the day, and this came from May 8th, 1900, of the Lawrence Daily Journal that I found on newspapers.com. And the headline read, "President Jordan of Leland Stanford gives his opinion of the coach." Now, this article, of course, was about Stanford University, President Jordan there, and he talked about his coach that he had for 1 year, and that is, the great Fielding H. Yost, who, was only with the Cardinal for 1 year. And we talked to our friend Dr. Behe, John Behe, last summer about Fielding Yost, and he has a great book out there on that. And Jordan really didn't want Yost there for very long. They were having some success, but he wanted to push the academics. Yost goes to Michigan, and the rest is history. That leads those point-a-minute teams and some other great innovations to some tremendous Michigan Wolverine teams. And I'm sure Michigan was grateful that Stanford let him go. But that's our history that we have on that. Now, we also have some great headlines from the other sports and some great events that happened on this day. May 9th, 1901, the Cleveland Blues rookie pitcher Earl Moore threw a no-hit ball game for full 9 innings. However, the Chicago White Sox scored 4 in the 10th inning to hand Moore and company a 4-2 loss. That's a heartbreaker. In 1961, on May 9th, the Baltimore Oriole hitter Jim Gentile, number 4 on his jersey, smacked not one, but 2 grand slams in a game against the Minnesota Twins at Minnesota's Metropolitan Stadium. The Slugger drove in a grand total of 9 runs during that game, up to his RBI total for the year, and the Orioles won the game 13-5, powered by those 9 runs. In 1973, Cincinnati Reds catcher Johnny Bench, wearing that number 5 jersey he made so famous, hit 3 home runs in one game for the second time of his career at Vet Stadium in Philadelphia, and the Big Red Machine needed darn near every bit of Bench's production as they won 9-7 over the Phillies that day. And what a great player Johnny Bench was as well. Now, we go around and look at some great websites that bring so much to sports history. And one for hockey that we love to go to time and time again is the HockeyWriters.com website. And they share with us that on May 9th, 1981, the Minnesota North Stars advanced to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in franchise history by defeating the Calgary Flames by the score of 5-3 in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup semifinals. Brad Palmer scored twice in that game to help seal the deal and send the North Stars into the Stanley Cup. Of course, the Minnesota North Stars ended up moving to Dallas and are now called the Dallas Stars. Another great hockey source that tells us a lot about the day of May 9th is the NHL.com, as they have this day in hockey history as well. And on May 9th in 2006, Joffrey Lupul made history in Stanley Cup playoffs when he scores all but 4 goals for the Anaheim Ducks, including the winner at 16:30 of overtime in a 4-3 victory over the Colorado Avalanche. All 4 goals coming from that one man to push them to that victory. Tremendous, and we thank NHL.com for that. Now, we also like to talk about baseball history, and we got some great items that we love to share from the thisdayinbaseball.com and from Jay Daniel and his 80sbaseball.com website. And first of all, let's take a stop over to This Day in Baseball. They have, dozens of events that have happened on the day of May 9th, as they do each and every day, and we really appreciate the work that they did there. And this was really kind of an interesting one that happened back in 1914 on May 9th, and before 18,000 fans, Christy Mathewson scattered 10 hits in shutting down the Braves by the score of 2-0. A Chief Mayer's double off of Lefty Tyler accounts for both of New York's runs. Boston is now 3-11, 10 games behind the Pirates. But Christy Mathewson, just a tremendous pitcher, didn't have a great day that day with those 10 hits coming out. But just some great history from This Day in Baseball crew over at thisdayinbaseball.com. Now, we also told you that we love to go to our friend Jay Daniel. He has that great book, Sud series, that we talked about on the show a couple months ago. And he also has these daily items and events and birthdays celebrating 80s baseball, a time period that many of us love to talk about. And he has a big day for a gentleman on May 9th, 1982, and that's Dan Dreesen, who got his 1,000th hit of his career for the second time. Now, Dreesen thought he had reached the plateau earlier on the season in a game against Houston, but a fan wrote to the Cincinnati Post pointing out an error in the Reds media guide. The fan was right, so Dreesen had to wait till this day in 1982 to get that 1,000th hit. And we thank Jay Daniel for letting us share that with you today. That's 80sbaseball.com with Jay Daniel. If you put a backslash after the website and put a date in, you can go at any date during the baseball season and see the great history that he has saved up to share with each one of us. Now, that is our great sports history for the day. We are so happy that you were able to join us once again. And you can find more history on jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com. We welcome you to do that. And we also welcome you to join us each and every day, because we try to have a discussion on sports history, and we definitely have multiple articles and celebrate the Hall of Famers and events of the day on both those websites, jerseydispatch.com, pigskindispatch.com. Until tomorrow, everybody, have a great sports history day. This penalty kill is almost over. I got to get back out on the ice. But thanks again for joining us for another great edition of Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel. You get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hi, this is Joe Ziemba, the host of When Football Was Football, here on the Sports History Network. I'm very pleased to announce that I will be partnering with the Sports History Network to give away 2 copies of my latest book called Bears vs. Cardinals, the NFL's Oldest Rivalry. To enter, just head over to the following link, sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. We hope you will enjoy the numerous stories in the book, which is largely based on the newly released Dutch Tournament collection at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dutch was the co-owner of the early Chicago Bears with George Halas and kept correspondence, financial records, and scouting reports, which now allow us to peek into the management of an NFL club during the first few years of the league's existence. Along the way, we'll meet unusual gridiron characters from years gone by, including a quarterback who could throw the ball farther behind his back than he could throwing it forward, a Bears lineman who was such a good tavern fighter that he decided to enter the boxing universe, and a Cardinals halfback who gave up the NFL rushing title by deciding to not show up for his team's final game of the season. And can we forget the time the Al Capone mob interrupted a Bears-Cardinals game? The new book was fun to research, and I hope you will enter our free contest today. Once the winners are selected, we'll be in touch regarding shipping as well as to inscribe the book personally for you. This might make a perfect gift for Mother's or Father's Day, or simply add it to your own personal collection. Once again, enter by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. Thank you and good luck.